My cousin tried to destroy my wedding, so I destroyed his life. In this story, you'll see how I exposed him and turned the tables. Let me know in the comments what you would have done in my shoes, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this. He was family. He was supposed to be my brother in all but blood. I never thought he'd be the one trying to take everything from me, my reputation, my happiness, even my wife. But looking back now, all the signs were there. I was just too blind to see them. When I got engaged, I thought I was the luckiest man alive. My fiancée was the love of my life, and I wanted to give her the perfect wedding. My cousin Mark was one of the first people I told. He clapped me on the back, grinned ear to ear, and said, "Don't worry, bro. I'll help you with everything. You're in good hands." And I believed him. Why wouldn't I? We grew up together. He'd always been charming, quick on his feet, the kind of guy who could walk into any room and make people like him instantly. I thought having him around was a blessing. I didn't realize he was sharpening the knife. The first thing that went wrong was the invitations. Somehow the print shop messed them up. Wrong date, wrong address. I was furious. My fiancée looked like she was about to cry. Then Mark swooped in, smiling, calm as ever. "Don't stress, man. I know a guy. I'll get it fixed." Sure enough, the next day, brand new invitations were sitting on our doorstep. Everyone praised him for saving the day. Then the venue called, saying our date had been double booked. My fiancée panicked. Her dream ceremony was about to fall apart. But again, Mark stepped in. "Relax, I'll talk to them." He drove over there, and suddenly the mix-up was solved. Once again, he was the hero. Even the caterer called me one night, claiming we hadn't paid the deposit, even though I knew I had. I was on the verge of losing it, feeling like everything was unraveling. But Mark? He just shook his head, chuckled, and said, "Don't worry, I'll cover it for now. You can pay me back later." My fiancée hugged him, tears in her eyes, whispering, "Thank you, Mark." Meanwhile, I felt small, like I was the one constantly failing, and he was the one holding it all together. But it didn't stop there. One night, I surprised my fiancée with her favorite perfume, or so I thought. I wrapped it myself, handed it to her, excited to see her face. She opened the box, smiled politely, but I saw the flicker in her eyes. It wasn't the right brand. I swore I bought the one she always wore, but somehow it was wrong. Later that evening, Mark showed up. And guess what he had in his hand? The exact perfume she loved. He laughed it off, saying, "I don't know, I just thought of her when I saw it." She lit up, hugged him, kissed his cheek. And me? I stood there like an idiot, wondering how I managed to screw up something so simple. Another time, I ordered her favorite flowers to be delivered. They arrived wilted, half dead. I wanted to crawl under a rock. Then, almost on cue, Mark strolled in holding a fresh bouquet of her actual favorite blooms. She gasped, "You always know me so well." He just smiled, humble, while I clenched my fists behind my back. I kept telling myself it was bad luck. Coincidences. Weddings are stressful. Maybe I was just overthinking. But the comments started. My fiancée teasing me, "You're so forgetful, but Mark always remembers." My aunt laughing, "Mark is more prepared than you are. Maybe he should be the one getting married." Everyone thought it was a joke, but every word cut me deeper. The final straw, though, was the note. I had written my fiancée a letter, something private, from the heart, reminding her why I loved her and how much I couldn't wait to marry her. I poured everything into that page, but when she read it, she looked disappointed. The words were cold, generic, nothing like what I wrote. I swore to her I never wrote that. She didn't believe me. Mark was the one who put his arm around her, whispering, "He's just stressed. Don't take it personally." That's when I realized something was wrong. Something deliberate. But I had no idea just how far he was willing to go. I kept telling myself it was just wedding stress. Everyone said things go wrong before the big day, and I wanted to believe them. I wanted to believe I wasn't losing control, that maybe Mark really was just the guy who held everything together. But the mistakes kept piling up. And every time, Mark was right there with the solution. The first real scare was with the rings. My fiancée and I had picked them out together, and I tracked the shipment like a hawk. But somehow the package never showed up. When I called the courier, they said it had been delivered. To where? Nobody could tell me. I was in full panic mode, my fiancée on the verge of tears, when Mark walked in grinning. "Relax," I called around. "They sent it to the wrong drop-off. I'll swing by and grab it." An hour later, he came back with the rings. Everyone cheered. My fiancée kissed his cheek and called him a lifesaver. And me? I just stood there, humiliated. Then the seating chart disappeared. We'd spent weeks planning it, arranging tables so no family drama would blow up at the reception. One morning, the file was just gone. Deleted. I swore I hadn't touched it. My fiancée was furious. How could you be so careless? Before I could defend myself, Mark piped up. Don't worry, I remember most of it. Let's just rebuild it together. He rattled off names, placements, even dietary preferences, like he had the whole thing memorized. My fiancée was impressed. My parents were impressed. Everyone praised him for saving the day. But inside, I felt sick. Why was he always the one fixing everything? That night, I stared at the ceiling and asked myself questions I didn't want to ask. Was I really this forgetful? This incompetent? Maybe Mark was just better at this stuff than me. Maybe I wasn't cut out for this. The next day, I overheard him talking to my fiancée in the kitchen. His voice was low, gentle, the way you talk to someone you care about. Don't be too hard on him. He means well. Not everyone's cut out for responsibility. My stomach dropped. Was he defending me or tearing me down? I didn't know what to believe anymore. A few nights later, I tried to win some ground back. My fiancée loved a particular dessert from a local bakery. It was her comfort food, her weakness. I arranged for it to be served at a family dinner, thinking it would surprise her, remind her how much I paid attention. But when the food came out, nothing. No dessert. She looked at me with disappointment, her eyes saying more than words ever could. You forgot, didn't you? She whispered. Before I could even protest, the front door opened, and in walked Mark, smiling, holding a box, the exact dessert I had ordered. Thought she might like this, he said casually, as if it was just a passing thought. Her whole face lit up. She kissed him on the cheek, laughing. You always remember me. I sat there frozen. My gut told me it wasn't luck, that he had made sure my surprise never showed up. But my brain argued back, no, it's just a coincidence. Just timing. I was being paranoid, right? Then came the florist's voicemail. I'd missed the call, so it went straight to recording. The woman's voice was cheerful. Hi, just confirming the changes Mark requested for tomorrow's flower order. Thank you. My blood went cold. I never asked him to change anything. That's when the line between bad luck and sabotage snapped. It wasn't just stress. Someone was pulling the strings, and all signs pointed to my cousin. After the florist voicemail, I couldn't ignore it anymore. This wasn't bad luck. This wasn't me being forgetful. Someone was pulling strings, and all signs pointed to Mark. But I needed proof. If I came at him with nothing, he'd just smile, twist my words, and make me look paranoid. So I set a trap. I told my fiancée I wanted to surprise her with something small before the wedding, a song she loved from our first date. Just a simple thing, I said, something for the DJ to play at the rehearsal dinner. I made her promise not to tell anyone. It was ours, just between us. 2 days later, we're at a family dinner. And guess what comes on the speakers? That exact song. Everyone laughs, saying it's a sweet coincidence. But then Mark pipes up, "Oh, I thought you'd like this one." I asked them to put it on. He winked at me. A slow, smug wink no one else noticed. My stomach turned. That night, I cornered him outside, away from the family. What the hell are you doing? Why do you keep stepping in, changing things, stealing my moments? He didn't even flinch. He just smirked. Relax. I'm saving you from yourself. You keep fumbling, and I'm the one keeping her happy. You should be thanking me. I wanted to punch him. Instead, I clenched my fists and said, "You're trying to make me look like an idiot. You're trying to make her think you'd be better than me." His smile widened. If she thinks that, maybe it's because she's right. I swear, my blood ran cold. After that, I couldn't look at him the same. Every word, every helpful gesture, felt like a knife in my back. But the worst was still coming. I had spent weeks planning one big gesture for my fiancée before the wedding. A gift that tied back to when we first met. A custom necklace with an engraving only she and I would understand. It was my way of saying, I remember everything. You matter to me. The night I planned to give it to her, everyone was gathered in the living room. I stood up, nerves buzzing, ready to hand her the little box. But before I could even reach for my pocket, Mark cleared his throat. He walked up to her with a velvet case in his hands. And when she opened it, inside was a necklace, almost identical to the one I had ordered. Her eyes filled with tears. She hugged him, whispering, "You always know exactly what I want." And I just sat there, frozen. I wanted to scream that it was my idea, that he stole it from me, but I couldn't. Nobody would believe me. To them, I was just the guy fumbling through his own wedding prep while my cousin swooped in to save the day. That night, lying awake, staring at the ceiling, I made a decision. I stopped wondering if I was paranoid. I stopped hoping it was all coincidence. And I started planning how to destroy him. I knew Mark was reading my journals. At first, I thought it was paranoia, but the pattern was too sharp. I'd write down an idea, and within days he'd appear with it, wrapped in a bow, acting like it was his own. So I set a trap. One night, I scribbled a fake plan into my journal, a rare boutique item that I supposedly wanted to surprise my fiancée with. I even left the notebook open on my desk, as if I'd forgotten to put it away. The bait was too perfect for him to resist. Sure enough, the next day I got a text from Nora, my cousin. She wrote, "I believe you. I just saw Mark leaving the boutique downtown. The same one you mentioned yesterday. He had a bag with their logo on it." My heart raced. He'd fallen for it. Finally, proof. I called Nora immediately, and that's when the real plan was born. She would follow up, pretend she'd run into him, and act impressed by how thoughtful he was. Mark loved admiration almost as much as he loved sabotage. If she played it right, he'd brag, and she'd have her phone recording the whole thing. We picked a cafe near the boutique as the perfect stage. Nora would casually suggest grabbing coffee with him after bumping into him, giving her the time and privacy to let him talk. My job was simple: stay out of sight, keep my nerves in check, and wait for the evidence. The day came, and everything fell into place. Nora texted me as soon as she spotted him leaving the boutique. She bumped into him, exactly as planned, smiled wide, and said she'd been meaning to catch up. Of course, Mark agreed. He never missed a chance to be admired. They sat down at the cafe, her phone angled just right in her bag, the camera rolling. Nora opened with the line we'd rehearsed. "You're incredible, Mark. You always know exactly what the bride wants. How do you do it? Honestly, it feels like magic." That was all he needed. His chest puffed up, and the smug smile I knew too well spread across his face. "Well, it's not magic," he said, chuckling. "It's just knowing where to look." He writes everything down like a diary. I read it, take the good stuff, and make it mine. Works every time. Nora gasped on cue. "Wait, you mean the gifts, the surprises? They were his ideas first." Mark leaned in closer, lowering his voice like he was sharing a secret. "Every single one. The guy's predictable. He plans, I execute. She thinks I'm the hero while he looks clueless. Honestly, I'm doing her a favor. She deserves someone who actually gets her." And he didn't stop there. He bragged about calling vendors and changing dates. He laughed about how easily I lost my temper when things fell apart. He admitted he'd been flipping through my journals for months, pulling out ideas and claiming them as his own. Every word, every smirk, every boast was captured on Nora's phone. When she sent me the video that night, I watched it until I could quote his lines by heart. It wasn't just proof, it was a confession, served on a silver platter. I didn't wait for a dinner or confrontation. I didn't give him the chance to spin excuses. I dropped the clip straight into the family group chat with one line. "This is what Mark's been doing." The fallout was immediate. Messages poured in: shock, anger, disgust. Some relatives refused to believe it at first, until others pointed out that Mark's voice and face were crystal clear in the footage. My fiancé's mother texted, "He's dead to me." And then somehow the clip leaked. I'll never know who shared it, but once it hit Facebook, it spread like wildfire. Strangers reposted it, TikTok mocked it. People stitched his lines with sarcastic captions like "cousin of the year face with rolling eyes." The internet doesn't forgive. His Instagram filled with hate comments. Old acquaintances chimed in, saying they weren't surprised. By the end of the week, half the state seemed to know who Mark was. And then came the job. His company called him in, and 2 days later he was demoted. They couldn't have someone in a managerial role with his reputation plastered all over social media. The golden boy was now a cautionary tale. Mark went from admired to despised in less than a week. Family wouldn't return his calls. Neighbors whispered. Online, his name became a joke. For the first time, I wasn't the one looking like a fool. I had proof, and everyone saw the truth. But as satisfying as it was, one thought lingered. Mark wasn't the type to stay down. And my wedding day was still ahead. When the video went viral and the family turned their backs on him, I thought that would be the end of Mark. But I underestimated how desperate he was. A week after the scandal broke, he showed up at my fiancé's apartment, uninvited, trying to get her alone. I wasn't there at the time, but she called me immediately afterward, her voice trembling with anger, not fear. "He tried to spin it," she told me. "He said everything he did, the sabotage, the stealing ideas, the lies, was because he loved me. He said you don't really understand me the way he does, and that he should be the one standing beside me at the altar. The audacity nearly made me laugh, but my fiancée wasn't laughing. She told me how she looked him dead in the eyes and dropped the final blow. She said, "Mark, it doesn't matter what gifts you gave or what stunts you pulled. Even if you hadn't been exposed, even if no one ever found out, I would never choose you. You were never the man I wanted. You never could be." She said the words shattered him. He tried to recover, to say she didn't mean it, but she cut him off. She told him to leave and never come back. And he did. That was the last time she saw him in person. After that, it was silence. Mark didn't attend the wedding. His name wasn't mentioned in the group chat anymore. For once, there were no whispers, no comparisons, no sabotage. It was as if he had been erased from the family altogether. And the wedding was everything we'd dreamed it would be. The flowers bloomed just right, the music was perfect, and the people who truly loved us were there, smiling, clapping, crying happy tears. When I stood at the altar and saw her walking toward me, I realized that all the chaos Mark had tried to create had only made us stronger. There was no shadow hanging over us that day. No schemes, no fake heroics, no sabotage. Just us, and the life we were ready to build together. For months after, we didn't hear a word from him. The family moved on, the internet found its next scandal, and we lived our lives without looking over our shoulders. But one night, about 6 months later, my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. It was Mark. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to go that far. I just wanted to be seen. I hope someday you can forgive me." I stared at the words for a long time. Part of me almost felt pity. Almost. But then I remembered the smirk on his face when he bragged to Nora. The months of gaslighting, the way he tried to steal not just my moments, but my fiancée herself. I didn't reply. Some people don't deserve closure. The truth is, I didn't need his apology. I had my peace. My wife and I had started our life together, stronger than ever, and Mark had no place in it. He tried to destroy my wedding, my relationship, my happiness. Instead, he destroyed himself. And that was the real ending of Mark. Not the video, not the demotion, not even the internet's hate. It was that, in the end, he had nothing left. Not my fiancée, not the family's respect, not even my attention. We had moved on. He was just a cautionary tale. If you watched up to this point, I just want to say how grateful I am for supporting my channel. Please like, subscribe, and share to your friends for more stories like this. Thank you, and see you on the next one.